As a lot of you guys know, narrow gauge trains have been a bit of an obsession for me recently. I love learning about them, I love modeling them. In a way, it's like a breath of fresh air from the normal modeling that I do. And to have a little bit of fun with it recently, I decided to make something unique to my 009 collection, an original character, which is something I haven't done in quite a while. So today I'm happy to introduce you guys to Isabella, a rail motor or steam coach, whatever you want to call her, who carries passengers around the mountains on the Skarloey Railway. And today I'll be telling you guys how I made her, the little basis and story I've developed for her, and showing off some of the amazing fan art that people have made for her over on Twitter. So with that out of the way, let's meet the newest member to the Skarloey Railway fleet. I guess I'll start with the story of Isabella. The name Isabella comes from my dog Bella, who really enjoys the snow and cold weather, a lot like me. Now, the Skarloey Railway itself is known for going into the mountains. Technically, the coldy fell goes to the really high points, but what about the areas where it's a little colder, where an open coach may not do the passengers so well? Well, that's where Isabella comes into play. Being a rail motor, not only is she enclosed, but also can carry passengers inside of her. I also would like to make her a rake of coaches with time, since I imagine if there was a boiler and other mechanics inside of her, being this small, there probably wouldn't be a lot of room for passengers, so an extra coach will likely help with that. I can't imagine her and Sir Handel get along all too well.
Those aren't coaches, they're cattle trucks.
But she enjoys her job of pulling passengers and occasionally freight along the snowy and more mountainous terrain of the Skarloey, and that's more or less what she was built for. Besides my dog, she doesn't really have a real-life basis. This is more loose inspiration, but I'm confident putting her in the rail motor category, seeing as that's basically what she is. Just a bit of a specially designed one, I guess. And that goes in pretty well to how I made her. This started as a capsule play-rail Clarabelle that was basically stripped down. I took out its original wheels, I reprimed the coach itself, sprayed it a royalish blue, and painted her roof a dark gray. Next would be her funnel, which was sourced from a Pecco in-scale locomotive. I added a figure inside of her, this being the driver or fireman, whatever you want it to be. And lastly, the face, which was taken off of the original Clarabelle and then reapplied. It's for that the face looks a little worn, and in time I would like to replace it with either a brand new sticker or maybe even a vinyl decal, but at least she has one for now. I couldn't really call her complete without one. Like most 009 customs, she sits on a Percy chassis that was slightly modified to hold more standard 009 couplings. I haven't got around to putting one on the front of her yet, but in time plan to do that as well. That essentially completes her build. There really wasn't a lot to it. It was just an idea that flew into my mind. I decided to give it a shot and honestly fell in love with the result. I decided to name her Isabella after my dog since, well, I imagine she works in the mountains where it would be cold, and altogether she looks very unique and is something that I'm proud to have made. And honestly, quite unexpectedly, a lot of people on Twitter seem to like her too. And as a thank you to you guys, I'd like to take the next little bit to showcase those. Some people chose to make her in standard gauge rather than narrow gauge, and honestly that's completely and totally fine. She really can be whatever. For me personally, I just prefer the idea of her working on the Skarloey Railway. If anyone else has any other ideas, that's completely and totally fine. Honestly, I'm just happy to have made a character that people seem to like. Unless I showed her an operation. So let's go ahead and get into that. Honestly, this design kind of works out perfectly too. For those who saw my last video, the little mountainous terrain I recently built could almost be a part of her branch line, and recently I've imagined it as just that, giving her a little bit more identity and a home for me. As always, guys, thanks again for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like or subscribing for even more train content. There's always more stuff on the way. If you guys enjoyed this character and would like to see more like her, be sure to let me know down in the comments. And as always, guys, thanks again for everything you do. The last thing I expected was a little OC I made to be, well, so well loved. And honestly, it's a very good feeling. I'll have to tell the real Bella about it ASAP. So with that being said, thanks again, guys. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one.